Hey everybody! A long time ago I talked about a little game called Roboquest, and I'd like to talk about it again because a lot has changed. The game recently had a massive rework, and a lot more changes are on the way, with the full 1.0 release coming in early 2023. The rework has been absolutely fantastic, and I love the direction the game is going. But that wasn't always the case. There was even a period of time where I considered making a video talking about just how bad the game had gone. So let's dive into what caused this problem, how the developer solved it, and talk a little bit more about the most recent update to the game. But before we get started, let me remind you to go ahead and subscribe to get invited to my birthday party. And while you're doing that, why don't you leave me a like as well as a comment? Let me know what you think about Roboquest, and if you tried the game out. I'd be really happy to hear if this video inspired you to go ahead and try out the game. I hope you enjoy. So anyways, getting back on point, you might be asking yourself, what exactly happened to Roboquest? Well, in order for any of this to make sense, I want to explain how Roboquest played before the big rework, just so you have an idea of what happened. So how the game worked is you would collect different items and weapons. There were 4 different categories you could collect: assault, precision, demolition, and tech. Basically, if you collected items, they would buff the corresponding weapon. So assault items would buff assault weapons, and so on and so forth. Then you would go on out and kill a bunch of enemy robots and level up, and at each level up you would get a new ability. These abilities were unique to each class, and you would get a choice of 3, and if you upgraded your base enough, you could re-roll your choices that were offered to you 3 times per run. So with the rework, they completely changed almost all of that. They completely removed the different weapon categories. Now, that doesn't mean they removed the weapons, they just stopped grouping them into categories, and instead they replaced it with a system like Borderlands with rarity, where there's white, green, blue, purple, and then orange. These rarities include how many different effects a weapon can have on it, which adds kind of crazy modifiers to the weapon, and they're all completely randomized. So, now you may be wondering, if they got rid of the different categories, then what did they do with the items? Well, this is where the problem begins. They replaced them with a new system of items, where items give you random upgrades. Now, the issue with that is it completely replaced the leveling system. I didn't really expand on it when I first talked about it, but I'm going to dive into what made the leveling system so good. If you recall my first video, there are 4 different classes for you to choose from, and with the leveling up system, each one has their own unique set of builds focusing on a variety of different things. I had a lot of fun experimenting with different builds and trying to build something that I felt best suited my playstyle for each character. Unfortunately, what they chose to do was completely scrap the level up system and move it all to the items. Essentially, the new items gave you random upgrades, and at certain points of your run you could find 3 items to choose from. You needed power cells, which was a new in-game currency, to buy these items. The problem was, not only was it hard to get enough power cells to buy the items you wanted, but the items were completely random, so instead of working towards a build, you just kinda had to deal with whatever crap you got stuck with. This made all of the classes feel a lot less unique. Because while they may have their own abilities, the builds were really what brought it all together. So, it was there that it seemed like all hope was lost. But one brave soul decided to stand up and voice his opinion to let the developers know where they'd gone wrong. And I don't want to take too much credit, but I left a comment on the Steam forums, and well, they changed their tune pretty quick. The developers delayed the update so that they could re-implement the leveling up system and rework how items functioned. So all in all, a pretty happy ending to the story. Now to get serious for a second, this change to the update wasn't because of the comment I left. They got plenty of people commenting and talking about it, which is actually why I think it's really important to talk about this kind of stuff, because developers can and do listen. There's no point in quietly mumbling to yourself and hoping things get better, and there's also no point in shouting at the devs, berating and insulting them. A whole bunch of people in the community left polite and constructive messages directed towards the devs. And that's why I wanted to tell you guys this story. Not only to show off how great Roboquest is, but to also show that the community has an impact on games. So if you don't like the direction a game is headed, let your voice be heard. Even if nobody else agrees with you, it's a really important part of the discussion. Maybe you'll help steer a game like Roboquest away from a bad decision. Anyways, that's going to be all from me. I'm sorry this video wasn't a bit longer, I just haven't had the energy lately to work on some larger projects, but I'm slowly working my way back up. and hopefully I'll be able to start tackling those bigger projects soon. It's still going to be a while, but I hope you guys stick around to see them. Catch you later.